Hey guys, Lvladen here, and today I'll be bringing you a bit of an FAQ video and a shortened version of an upcoming Ret and Prot Paladin guide. Um, starters, I need you guys to realize that on YouTube, for the comments and stuff, when I'm trying to reply to you, you gotta enable your comment response. It's under user settings or something like that. But I can't respond to your comments and answer your questions unless you enable it. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, let's start with Prot. I've been playing Prot as my main spec now. It's been working out pretty well. I've been experimenting with tons and tons of Glyphs. This class, literally, the way you play it relies on Glyphs. It has pretty much damage. The amount of damage that your abilities do are altered by your Glyphs, and the top damaging ability will ultimately be determined by which three of these you use. So for starters, I use Dazing Shield. A lot of you are like, why do you use Focusing Shield? And the answer is simple, because Focusing Shield actually reduces the damage of your Avenger's Shield. When you're using it, you're not being prot to be a single target bursting class. Like I've seen some other people running with Holy Avenger, and there's another glyph here, Harsh Words. Now, if you're doing that, you're trying to have a Ret play style. You're trying to be that, oh, I'm gonna burst you down as a tank class. But you shouldn't be doing that if you're playing a tank spec. You're playing a tank spec for your survivability and your consistent pressure. Prot is actually able to melt people, but in a different way than burst. Another option is Consecration. If this glyph, actually I was running it earlier, and I was doing less damage with my Consecration than I was just placing it on the ground, and I realized that's because it refreshes every, I think, second and a half. So if I'm moving, and I move in 1.5 seconds between ticks of my Consecration, even though I'd be in the range of my target, sometimes it just wouldn't go off hitting them, even though they would be in the range. So I opted to not take that glyph. Oh yeah, I meant not glyph of consecration, glyph of consecrator. That's the glyph I meant. So in the end, I ended up running with these three glyphs here. This glyph is Alabaster Shield. This is kind of optional. I noticed that I was able to crit much higher numbers with this, but the consistent damage with Shield of the Righteous is pretty low. So it's not necessarily. Another option you could run would be the Divine Protection Glyph. That's just the physical damage reduction. But you also have your Shield Wall and your shitty Rallying Cry, your shitty Mimic Rallying Cry. It's not even that good. What else could you run with instead? Yeah, that's basically all you could run with there. So that leaves us with third glyph, which Glyph of Final Wrath. This makes Holy Wrath hit hard. I'm talking like you can crit between 80 and 100k with Holy Wrath if you have your procs going. If you have Zerker, you can easily get 100k crit with Holy Wrath. But in a 1v1 PvP situation, your target will 100% die if it hits 20% health, because you also have your Hammer of Wrath, which will hit for between 10 and 15k non-crit. And then you have this thing, which will hit for 30k non-crit and anywhere between 80 and 100k crits. So that's why I'm running Glyph of Final Wrath. I believe there is a minor glyph that makes it purely single target somewhere here. I haven't used it just because the damage with Final Verdict is split. So if you get someone at 20% health and let's say another guy standing next to them, it'll kind of function like a Havoc thing, and the initial damage will be spread out among everyone else. So it hits really hard if you get someone at 20% health. And even if you don't, and you're running with the Sanctified Wrath talent, it will still hit decently hard, like about 20k single target, 20 to 25k single target. So the other talents I'm using now, this one, Long Arm of the Law. Everyone uses it in PvP, even in PvE. I see people using it. Don't even bother going with the others. They're too situational. Pursuit of Justice just sucks overall. Fist of Justice, definitely, you want to go with that. Oh, I miss Blinding Light so much, but I don't use it at all just because of the cooldown on Fist. And your set bonus for Protection enables you to burst into Fist of Justice. I'll read it out to you guys. When your target is hit by Fist of Justice, it takes 10% more damage. And because we don't have wings anymore, there's not a good way to burst, so just it's extra damage during Hodge if you're trying to kill your stunned target. I run with Sacred Shield because it pairs really well with the Empowered Seal's Seal of Insight heal. It's just you have 2 hots running on you, and they will you. I've had games where I've had 4 million healing as protection. That is insane. I've out-healed. I've been the top healing in a battleground over Resto Druids and Disc Priests. But you know how random BGs go, they're not all good players. But still, 4 million healing in a BG between 2 heals and sometimes Protector of the Innocent, Ward of Glories is really good. As for this row, you know, Unbreakable Spirit, Clemency, either one. Hand of Purity, never use it, it's just too situational, and these are just much better. 2 bops, or just a shortened bubble cooldown, that's really good. As for the 75 tier, I explained it earlier, Holy Avenger isn't that good for prot. I mean, you can get some fake burst out. I'll call it fake burst with Glyph of Harsh Words, but it's not that great. Sanctified Wrath is the talent I am really enjoying right now. Because you don't have Exorcism as prot, it gives you another Holy Power generator. It also deals a massive execute if you get someone to 20% health with Glyph, and it is decent single target. Divine Purpose, I haven't messed around with this much as prot, but I can assume from the same way I played it as Ret, it's okay. I mean, you don't have Glyph of Empowered, or not Glyph, you don't have Empowered Divine Purpose, which also procs Divine Purpose for Ret. Not Empowered Divine Purpose, I'm sorry, Empowered Divine Storm, which also procs Divine Purpose for Ret. So you're not getting it as frequently when you're prot. This tier has changed since the beginning of 6.0. Everyone was running Execution Sentence from MOP just because, oh, Execution Sentence has been the best for an entire patch, but now most Paladins are running Holy Prism. It actually does a significant amount of damage, and I'll show you how to make it do more with a macro I have. It's also situational, but it's usually number 3 on my damage. Light's Hammer, I run that in World PvP sometimes, just for the slow, it's kind of fun. But yeah, other than that, no, don't use Light's Hammer. Execution Sentence or Holy Prism, I prefer Holy Prism. The level 100 talents are pretty interesting for prot. I'd say you can play any of them. Just because Seraphim, actually, your damage is increased by more than it is as a Ret. Just because it gives you 1,000 bonus armor. Bonus armor functions, I think, stronger than attack power, or it's like armor and attack power. What I'm trying to say is, I think it's better than strength. I'm not sure, I'll have to check some guide site, but I know it increases your damage by a lot, along with your mastery, you get more block, which gives you more, or stronger Shield of Righteousness from the Glyph of Shield of Righteousness. Yeah, but Seraphim's okay. Still too much holy power in my opinion. Holy Shield here, it pairs really well with Glyph of Shield of Righteousness or Alabaster Shield because it increases your block chance by 15%. Also, it will increase your overall damage in a battleground. However, in duels and 2s, as far as I've played, it's crap because you're never targeted in arena, and if you are, well, you also have, if you're running Empowered Seals, you have your Seal of Insight to survive. Anyways, this talent is good in BGs if you know you can live. So that leaves us with Empowered Seals, and this is a lot easier to manage as prot than it is Ret because you have 3 seals, not 4, and you're going to be sitting in one of them generally for as long as you want. Seals as prot, they do absolutely no damage. Don't even worry about which one you're sitting in, only worry about the buff that you want at the time you're fighting. Usually I try and keep up Seal of Insight 100% of the time. If I have the time, I'm in Seal of Righteousness, getting Haste buff because it enables me to switch faster into either Seal of Truth or Seal of Insight. which enabled me to therefore damage better or survive better. So there you have it. Your talents and glyphs. It's what I'm running right now. So let's move on to the next portion of the guide. Alright, so I've been getting a lot of questions about how to gear as Ret. And I'm going to let you guys know that gearing for Ret is the same as gearing for Prot, generally. You want to go for versatility, which it doesn't scale as well as other stats. Single target you'll be doing less damage and blah blah blah, but it is your primary stat to go for when you're looking at gear. It's a flat damage increase, it's a flat healing increase, and it's a flat damage reduction. So it's generally a good stat, especially if you're going to be a protection paladin and you want to have that extra survivability. After that, it's mastery, which is the same for Ret. Mastery is your best stat for damage dealing, and it also increases your multi-strike damage for Ret. That's a bonus. For Prot, it actually, as it says on the tooltip, it increases your damage reduction from Shield of Righteousness, and increases your healing from your Bastion of Glory, and increase your block chance. However, it does another thing. It also, well, yeah, it says at the bottom also increases your attack power by 20%, but it also increases your Shield of the Righteous damage because of your glyph of the Alabaster Shield. So that is so many bonuses from one single stat. Mastery is your best stat after versatility. After that, I'd go for haste. It's nice to have a high amount of haste because of one of the passive abilities we have in here. Find it. Sacred Duty, you gain 5% more haste from all sources, and you have the same passive as Ret when it comes to haste, decreasing your abilities cooldowns in your global cooldowns. So let's get into gearing now that we have our stat priority down. By the way, crit, multi-strike, they're both shitty stats in PvP. Yeah, don't go for them. So we're going to go over oh, I'm going to mention something. A lot of you have been asking me about my armory and my trinkets and blah blah blah. Basically, the armory is bugged. It shows this stat up here, my 36 versatility. It shows it as strength, and same with the proc down here. It shows the 381 versatility as strength. That's just a tooltip bug on the main WoW site. Ignore it. I have the same trinkets as you guys. So for gearing, don't follow my armory until I say so. A lot of the gear I have, especially the epics, have been lucky random drop chance epics from RBGs or Coliseum. This includes my hands and my rings. This is the worst possible ring you could wear. Crit and multi-strike. It's ugh. Those are two stats you don't want, but I'm wearing it because I got it and it's better than the Primal Combatant's other version of the ring. I will be going for the ring that has the mastery though, once I can get rid of it. Another thing is, so Blizzard made it so you have, I think it's either 2 or 3 sets of PvP gear. One is a set bonus gear, one is a special stats gear, and the third is versatility specific gear. You want to go for your 4-piece set bonus, which you should wear your set piece head, your set piece shoulders, your set piece chest, and your set piece legs. Your hands, however, the set piece hands have crit and multi-strike. Those are your worst stats, so you want to get rid of it for a, I believe it's haste versatility piece, but the piece I'm wearing right now has haste and mastery on it because I got it from a Coliseum drop. Once I'm fully geared and after I've got rid of this shitty ring, I will be getting rid of this piece here in exchange for a versatility hand piece. So that's basically how I'm going to gear. We can move on to the next portion of the guide, which I believe will be macros. Enjoy. Alright, so let's get started on the macro part. This is just going to be a shortened version of my previous macros because I've only added, I don't know, like 6 macros since my last video, so that is still relevant if you want to go check that out. It was done during the 6.0 patch. Let me just open up my macros here. So the new macros I added in since my last video would be my 2 Hand of Protection macros, which enabled me to target another target, and while I am targeting that target, hit this button and it will auto cast Hand of Protection on. This one is my healer, and this one would be for my DPS, for my other 3's partner. If you're doing 5s, you're going to need even more, but that's so many keybinds. You also want to have a keybind for yourself. So I have 3 Hand of Protection keybindings. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it, but this is just how I've been doing it, and it's the way I play. The same goes with Hand of Sacrifice. You want a Hand of Sacrifice for your healer, and a Hand of Sacrifice for your other damage in 3s. And I have this 3rd macro here, which I showed in my last video. I use that for random battlegrounds, for example, if I'm dispelling CC off of a partner. Another macro that isn't really new, but I guess I'll put it in here anyway, is my Holy Prism macro. It is the exact same as my Execution Sentence macro. It just lets me hold down Shift, and it casts Holy Prism on myself if I hold down Shift, and on others if or on my target if I cast it without Shift. The reason I have this in here is because if I am targeting myself, and I think it casts up to 5 people. Let's check it out. Holy Prism. Yeah, it's up to 5 people you can damage with Holy Prism if you cast it on yourself. So if I'm in a big group and I cast Holy Prism on myself, that's probably, if any of them crit, if any of them do closer to the top amount of damage than the lower amount of damage, I will easily hit around 100k with a single Holy Prism. So that is significantly larger than the Execution Sentence. I'm talking for prot. Execution Sentence is still pretty good for red, but I'm playing mainly Holy Prism. I just have this here for an example of the macro. Hold down Shift, Execution Sentence myself instead of the target. Same goes with Holy Prism if I was playing prot, which it would be right there. Yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. It's kind of a rough put together guide, but I think it gets the job done. I'll be getting some gameplay commentary out, and eventually, once I am comfortable with prot and more geared, I will be attempting 3v3 arena. I have no idea what comp I'll play. I have no idea who will play with me, but I really want to try it out. I have successfully beat 2200 teams in 2s as prot. Oh my god, Ashran. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so more prot and ret videos to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.